Hello and welcome. My name is Arno and I'm the Chief Product Officer at Sana Commerce. You are listening to B2B e-commerce integrated. Today I have a guest, Jairo Garcia, who is the head of IT at Integria Healthcare. And stay tuned because he will explain that B2B e-commerce is not just a project or a platform implementation, but a strategy to adopt to be successful on the long run. And also he will explain why custom platforms will not help you in this long run if you're adopting B2B e-commerce. He will even explain also technically why, for example, file-based data exchange or synchronization is not helping to get, for example, complex pricing or regulations to your B2B platform in a easy and scalable way. And last part is also that he will explain how ERP integration can make the life easier for IT managers like Jairo to solve complex B2B issues that pharmaceutical companies are dealing with and how to bring that to the digital world. So stay tuned. Today I have a guest, Jairo Garcia, who is the head of IT at Integria Healthcare, all the way from Australia. Brisbane, right? And Jairo, great to have you in the show. Can you explain to our listeners more about your background and please introduce yourself?
Hola a todos. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon on this side of the world. Look, I've been working with Integria for around 5 years. My background is in IT. I've been working in IT for 25 years, something along those lines. Look, I started as a BI business intelligence consultant and then, ended up in Australia being the head of IT and Integria Healthcare. So interesting journey to get here. Many lessons learned from failures mostly, and also a lot of experience and a lot of people that I've met along the way.
Wow. Yeah, nice. Yeah, you started already a little bit in Spanish because, you're originally from Colombia, if I'm right. And we have, of course, a special connection with Colombia as well, since we have an office there and a development center. Around 75 employees are working for Sana over there, mostly serving the North American and Latin markets. I'm going to visit the office for the first time in a week or two. It's in Medellin, so I'm really looking forward to that and learn more about the beautiful country of Colombia. So and meet the people over there. So that is a great start. 20 years of IT background. That is a long time. And currently you are the head of IT at Integria. Can you explain to the listeners a little bit more about Integria Healthcare?
So Integria Healthcare is a pharmaceutical company. We manufacture our own products. We have brands such as MediHerb, Thorcy Plantation, Eureka, Eagle, and Thompson's. But also we distribute products from important brands here in Australia. Our vision is to inspire people to live their lives naturally. And so that's the inspiration we get for our products. They are natural products. So we serve a market that is the practitioner market that is more oriented towards natural medicine. So we're talking about homeopaths. We're talking about that kind of practitioners that will support our business, and we support them as well.
Understood. And that is then also focused on a certain area of let's say medicines, right? So mostly for if you have back pain or something and these kind of things, or so all different types of things that can be cured.
Well, we actually service two segments, if I can call them that way. It's the practitioner market and the retail market. So we offer the retail market. We offer products that people can use. So if we talk about Thorcy Plantation, we offer oils, essential oils, which is a good product. I mean, you can use for. They have several uses. I'm not going to get into the detail of each of those. More of a technical podcast, natural medicines one, but you can find those products on the shelves in supermarkets. But also we service the practitioner market, which is more specialized towards certain kind of medicines. And I say that the purpose of our company is just to service those practitioners that go into the natural medicine space. And by natural medicine space, I'm talking about, as I said before, homeopaths. Also, we're talking about herbalists and kind of medicine that we do in that space. I would say that MediHerb and Eagle are our brands that service that market. And MediHerb is probably the most reputable brand in the market in Australia. Okay. We have also in US, UK, and New Zealand, we have also exposure to those markets.
Oh, so even from Australia, since it's the distance is quite far, you're doing business in the other countries as well.
Yes, and you can imagine also the logistics issues that are around it, just moving products, stock.
We will definitely talk about that, because that's already adding some complexity indeed, if I understand. But and the vision is, of course, that everything is, I think, natural or ecological, and that these are important values for you, as I understand, as a brand, as a company. Are you producing also yourself, or are you working with suppliers? Can you elaborate a little bit about it?
So we do both. So we manufacture our own products, and we have 5 brands that are Integria's brands in the market. Also distribute products from other brands.
So like a distributing company and a manufacturing in one?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Nice. Yeah, maybe that's a nice bridge to the next topic, because I can imagine that brings complexity, right? Sometimes companies are only, like in B2B, are only wholesalers or distributors, or they are manufacturers, not doing both. But from your own words, let's say, so and we always talk, of course, about B2B e-commerce, and you started with that as well. We will talk a little bit later today about that journey. But I'm always so interested in what makes, let's say, B2B commerce for Integria Healthcare so complex. Can you elaborate a little bit on that topic?
Yes. Look, Integria operates under a heavily regulated market, particularly in Australia. We need to comply with TGA requirements, in US with FDA requirements, and because it's a highly regulated industry, we need to follow some protocols. Information needs to be actually validated. We need to make sure that the things we are saying is that what we do. We have also 2 different, as I said before, we have 2 different markets, retail and practitioner, which are different in nature. Right? Retail market is fast moving. The practitioner market is more related towards the products that we deliver to them and the services we deliver to them. So it's more of a one-on-one relationship that we have with our practitioners. And we need to personalize the way that we're going to deliver our products and services to those different markets. And hence, we need to implement rules to allow some customers to buy products that are allowed to, because they have training, they have education and qualifications just to allow them to sell those products. So we, under that regulatory environment, we need to just make sure that we're selling the right product and service to the right people. So it's a combination of rules that need to be put in place between brands, qualifications, the professional, the professions that the practitioner has, to allow them to buy the products that we're allowed to sell them under the TGA standards.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's quite some complexity, and I think there are a lot of other companies. If you're in pharmaceutical, I think they will recognize this story, and of course we will touch upon later on how that relates to the technology or to the tech stack to make things happen, let's say. So but before going into that deep, this was already quite nice to hear from you, but It's also hard, I think, to digitize or to bring online. But what was, in general, the reason to that you were searching for a B2B e-commerce tool? So I think the company started with that already before you joined, right? Is that correct?
So so the company had started the B2B journey before. We had what we call a legacy product that serviced our customers on a website, but definitely that was a customized product.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't in any way, shape, or form e-commerce platform. So not having that essential feature of being an e-commerce platform makes things very difficult in order to, for example, launch promotions on the website or implement the rules that I discussed before. Yeah. And also, we had performance issues with the legacy system. So all of that started to create an environment in which we needed to change that delivery that we were doing to our customers. Mm-hmm. So at that point, at the same time, we were implementing an ERP system. So the ERP that was selected at that point was Dynamics 365. Yeah. And then we were looking for an application that was highly integrated with Dynamics, and at the same time, we're an e-commerce platform. So it's believe it or not, it's a combination that you cannot find easily in the market. So there might be a few applications that can do that, Sana being one of them. So we started that process to ask our implementation partners for an application that could help us in the e-commerce space. And that's how we find out about Sana and the features that Sana had that will help us to, or at that point, when we decided about Sana, and we saw the differences between the platform that we had, which is a custom-made platform, clunky, slow, and that required a high level of maintenance compared to Sana, mm-hmm. which was, in that sense, Sana was a light application. It connects natively to Dynamics 365. It allowed us to create those rules. So basically, we could say that Sana's native personalization capabilities were exceptional. And that's probably the point that brought us towards Sana.
Yeah, no, that is great to hear, obviously. And you're sharing already quite a journey over there. Let us just digest that a little bit. So on one hand, there was actually then a need here. So because the company had already invested quite something in this custom platform, right? But they had from a business perspective, they had an idea what they wanted to achieve, right? Was it like cost reduction, or want to do more business, or automating more stuff? Do you know the initial thoughts on why to start with B2B e-commerce in general, even on the custom tool? Or was it just like, hey, we need to start because competition starts? Sometimes I hear that reason as well.
Yeah, that might have been the case. As I said, that was probably 10, 12 years ago.
They were early, right? Yeah.
I think that in that sense, Integria has always demonstrated that they are innovative in those spaces. Uh-huh. So I think, but I cannot say at that point what was the reason of that. Yeah. But certainly, I think that innovation was one of the engines of that decision. I think we need to get into that space. We might be the first ones to do it, and we'll start doing it.
Yeah. Hey, and when you joined the company, I think you had a clear mission to modernize the tech stack, right? Because you were talking about an ERP migration. That is not an easy project, I can tell you. We also sometimes need to do it here in the company, right? So you were moving, I think, from also a smaller or custom ERP to Dynamics, and you went to F&O, right? Dynamics 365 finance and operations, to be clear, because Dynamics 365 is more like an ecosystem, right?
Family.
Yeah, it's a big family. So maybe for the listeners that know the details, but Dynamics 365 Finance operations is like, say, the solution more suitable for the larger companies, I would say. Or multinational, maybe also doing business in multiple locations. You can also say it's the bigger brother or sister from Business Central, which is the other product which is famous in the Dynamics 365 space. And actually separate or next to things like sales, that's more like a CRM kind of tool. They are all in this big ecosystem or product family and like Office is also a product family from Microsoft. So you had experience with Dynamics 365 before with other companies or something? Did you do implementations already, or was it also like a big journey?
Well, I had some experience before with Dynamics AX, which is
AX,
of FinOps. So that helped, but definitely getting into the cloud space is a different ball game. So it's just the architecture required to support that implementation, and some of the concepts were a little bit different to what AX is.
Yeah.
Or at least it's the same core, I would say, but there are some things here and there that makes it a little bit different.
No, clear. Hey, and in the end, you maybe with a partner or so, they also recommended Sano as one of the vendors to work with. But maybe more importantly, before we going into that, so when the previous tool was, let's say, heavily customized, it was slow. Can you elaborate a little bit more as far as you know, let's say, what was why it was slow in your opinion, or what was the effect on the users of that platform then, right? What was can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. Look, there were some elements in that integration that I think they make that application a little bit, I would say the word slow, but it's not up to the expectations that we had regarding e-commerce. One of those is the complex pricing rules we have at Integria. Also, we had, from a technical point of view, the way they were integrated was through files. Basically, consuming those files will take some time in your platform, and then you need to wait a few hours until you see that in the system. So all of that had a good effect or impact on customer experience. So sometimes you will have inventory issues because it wasn't synchronized. Some other times you will have excessive delays during checkout. And those type of experiences are not good when you're working with e-commerce, even if it's B2B.
True. Yeah, and we hear that a lot. And for us, let's say if you're so busy with integration or automation in general in the company, you forget that there's still a lot of companies using, let's say, file-based data exchanges or something, or not even real time, or not using web services or other forms of let's say more direct integration. But there are still if we most of the time see first generation B2B e-commerce, or when they start trying with a custom portal, or we see these things a lot. Also on the mainstream e-commerce platforms that are still, it's pretty easy, or maybe as a software vendor to create, let's say, file-based exchange, right? To make it somehow work as a start, but you end up like you're sharing. When really using, you end up in a lot of, I would say, blockers, or because that was then what was then the result also for you, or maybe you arrived a little bit later, but did you get a lot of, let's say, tickets or issues from sales or from customers that say, hey, this is not correct, or they were complaining or something like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We had those. I would say that when you work with integrations using files, you always are exposed to errors. Sometimes the integration doesn't work because the FTP server wasn't working, credentials were changed. It wasn't produced on the ERP end. So there are so many factors that can actually impact the performance of those integrations. But even when you make changes in the ERP and you need to see those changes immediately reflected on the website, it will take some time to do it. So it wasn't only errors, it was the updates that also were affected by this type of integration.
Understood.
I would say it's a different story with Sana. So it's different story altogether.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. No, thanks for sharing that. It's always good because I think there are a lot of other companies that are, they are seeing the effects. Right? So if you're having a lot of questions from customers or sales, if something is not working, or it takes you a lot of time as an IT or director or manager or to make systems work together, then probably there is a better way out there to keep systems working together as one. But thanks for sharing that. So when you ended up with Sana and then you started to implement, so let's talk a little bit more about the implementation process and your view on it or your experience, and also who were involved. How did you make it a success? It's maybe 3 questions into one, but how did you deal with that?
Oh well, that's an interesting question, because there are things that we learned from that experience that I'd like to share with everyone. So
yeah, sure.
One of the things is that we were new to Dynamics 365, and then introduced Sana. So we need to learn quickly how Dynamics 365 worked in order to make use of the benefits that Sana will be offering. So I would say that one of the lessons learned is to have more deeper knowledge of the ERP, because once you do that, the work with Sana is just a matter of weeks. So it's not even, I would say, probably a couple of months that you can have a website up and running. Most of that time is actually producing images, contents for the website, managing the text in the product side of things, just to get that up and running. And that's the interesting part. So once we got into that cadence in which we knew how Dynamics worked and how integrated it was with Sana, it was quite quick to get up that side up and running. But that was, so I said that was like 3 stages. In the first stage is, Sana is here with us now. Now we need to start working with the integration and trying to understand how both systems will work. Second stage was quite quick. Is once everything is connected, you have the sites and up and running. And the third stage is the personalization side of things, in which all these complex rules we have for pricing or for the restrictions that we need to put on products to be sold to specific customers needed to be in place. So that was more of getting more into knowing what things we could do outside of the standard implementation. So those were the 3 stages in the project. And I would say the first 2 were quite quickly, I'll put it that way, regarding the project. And the third one, because we had those particular requirements, it took longer to get them implemented. Good news is that we made the deadline of the project. So we went live with the project in time with the ERP. And overall, I would say it would have taken us probably 5 to 6 months to implement Sana, or our platform, My Integria, that is powered by Sana. And most of that time was about the personalizations that we need to put in place for the platform.
Talking about the regulations and personalization, how that goes hand in hand, and how you can bring that complexity from one system to another. And that, you're mapping that out in systems like an ERP, because functionality is more or less there. But you do not want to rebuild that in the other system in a B2B e-commerce environment, because you will make mistakes, or it will take a lot of time, or this data exchange will be a big headache. So that's great that you that you're using the functionality that is how it's designed for. By the way, it's not only in pharmaceutical companies, also companies that are in chemicals, like chemical suppliers or producers of certain chemicals that can be served as ingredients, maybe for pharmacy or maybe for other industries, that also heavily benefited, because there is also a lot of regulations, as we have learned from our customer base. The next topic I want to touch upon is, okay, yeah, you went live. You made the deadline of the project, 5-6 months. That was great. I saw also the B2B environment or my Integria that you have. It's also beautiful style. The looking, I think you, as a brand owner, you also put a lot of attention there in making it feel and look nice. So yeah, great job there.
Just wanted to say that the digital team at Integria did a wonderful job with my Integria, revamping the brand and also putting the content, the images, layouts. And I say that's a joint effort with Sana, because we were asking for those personalizations. So if you go to my Integria site, you will see that it's not the standard Sana website.
Mm-hmm.
Has a lot of things in there that makes it so Integria, I would say, in a good way. Even the layouts is different, the fonts and things like that we needed to add into the website just to reflect our brand in it.
So, but now it's live. How much work you as an IT director, how much work do you have with the team to maintain the B2B web shop? Now it's launched, let's say, to show the prices or the making sure that the assortments are all there. Are you spending a lot of time?
So I was speaking on behalf of the IT team. I would say almost none. So that's the beauty of it. I mean, the business as part of the ERP project, the business owns the data. They take data in the system, and then that's is immediately reflected on Sana. So in that sense, the work that we did before in terms of monitoring interfaces or integrations is not there anymore. Mm-hmm. So we can savings coming back to the IT team. We have also the Sana team working with us, a hosting team from Sana working with us, monitoring the platform, the environment, giving us or letting us know when something is not going well, so we can work together to fix it. So basically now we're working on by exception. So there's an alert, something's triggered, we work in IT to figure out what's going on, and then along with Sana, we fix those issues. That's in terms of the maintenance, as in the business as usual maintenance, but there is a lot of work in terms of keeping the website up to date in terms of content. So keeping it close to what modern practices dictate, and in that sense, the digital team is doing, as I say, an amazing job just generating that content, moving things along in the website, so the website keeps current with more times.
No. Yeah, that's great that you mentioned, and that's, I think, the time you should spend on it, right? Because we see so many companies struggling just to make it work, and almost all the time is then going into that bucket, fixing issues or just getting the basics right, and then they are not spending that time on, on the content, continuously improve it. I always see it as a garden, you need to replace something, make it more beautiful than it was before. So to keep your B2B buyers, happy on your platform and continuously listening to your customers, of course, and try new things. That's the time that you want to spend on it, and not fixing issues, right? That some data import failed or product prices are not showing up, right? That is not what we want. Any goals, ambitions for the web store? Maybe you're growing to new markets or so, or want to go to new markets, or maybe other stuff you're working on to make it even better?
Look, there are always interesting projects at Integria, and that's the exciting side of my job there. So now, we have another platform that what we want to do with Sana is to become the integrated platform for B2B transactions. And then in that sense, we're interested in bringing more functionality into the platform, functionality that will be helpful or will service our customers better. It might be tracking information, it might be some other features that our customers are asking. I'm not going to go into those details because it's part of our development work. But we have a few interesting things coming up in the platform the next 2 years.
And talking about these different countries, let's say, so that you're also multinational in that sense, are they all on the platform, let's say so? So also from the US or UK?
So we have the platform was launched in New Zealand.
Okay.
During the implementation of the project. So currently Sana is servicing those 2 markets. The other markets, we have a third party assisting us with the distribution of our products. So we don't have a direct channel in other countries. So we're not expanding yet the platform there.
It's always difficult, right? Or in that sense, difficult, logical, I would say, because it's quite a heavy investment to go all the way directly to a certain new channel. You can also do a step-by-step approach, right? First, use a third-party logistical provider or 3PL, and from there, if you have a certain momentum or a certain volume, that you say, hey, let's own it completely. So then you're looking for a place to do the logistics and also build a company and actually portal for that region. Any tips maybe you had? I think you shared already one or two to IT leaders or head of digital or IT directors that are listening to this podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think that I would say that B2B is not a platform. Mm-hmm. It's a strategic initiative within the business. Platform is a result of it. So we found Sana and satisfied what we were looking for in our strategy. And that's probably the thing that we need to keep in mind when we discuss B2B or all this technical jargon about platforms and e-commerce, is that in the end, we are doing all of this because we want to improve customer experience. We want our customers to get closer to us. And that's derived from the strategy. So it might be different words in that you can say that, but what we're looking for here is that we have an initiative across all business that says we are going to deliver a B2B e-commerce service to our customer. The platform is just one component, a key one, but it's only one element of the equation.
True. Yeah. And that is so often misunderstood or forgotten about, that they see B2B e-commerce as a one-off project and just, okay, let's start and see and bring it live. But that will not do the trick. It's we are all transforming from digital or from physical to digital commerce, and that is indeed, I think, the lesson that you're sharing is so important, that it's not only about the tool, it's the whole organization needs to shift and adopt it. So yeah, that's a great lesson. And I think that is also why the podcast is here, because still there are so many companies misunderstanding this. Yeah, let's just open a web store. Of course, for an experiment, maybe it might be good, but when you should take it seriously, I think you need to really strategically choose for it and also take some time, because it is not easy. I think you did an amazing time. Let's say 5-6 months is pretty quick for B2B. That is not so easy to launch a new web store. It can also take easily a year if you're just starting and you need to transform a lot of your processes. So we have the concept in this podcast that we always passing on a question. So previous guest we had in the show was Jason from M&I Direct. And he prepared a question for you, or asked the question, say, hey, for the next guest, I have the following question. And it was around the topic AI, which is a hot topic nowadays, right? Artificial intelligence. But how can we fully take an advantage of AI tools, and how can we move forward and take the next step to be, fully working with AI? So what is your point of view of it?
When we talk about AI in a B2B environment, we need to look at that with different eyes, as if we look at AI in a retail environment. Yeah. There are two different stories. You might find a lot of, well, not a lot, but certainly more AI tools into a retail environment to direct it to consumers, because you need a lot of power and data engineering just to get information across. But when it comes to B2B, it's a different space. So
Correct.
In B2B, I think the premise of B2B is just for, as opposed to retail, people that is involved in B2B platforms, they want to complete a transaction because it's part of their job. So what I like to see coming from AI is how we can make those transactions more agile, how we can streamline that process.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of their job is done easier. And a few examples of it will be that we might be able to use AI to allow dictation. So I'm just thinking of a scenario where our practitioners are in the middle of a consultation, and then while they are prescribing, they might want to record their notes, and then those notes can be taken directly to a B2B platform, so they can create an order out of that, out of those notes. So just a small example of the thing that we could do with AI, but certainly it's about streamlining the processes. That's what I would like to see AI moving forward regarding B2B.
I agree with you, and you mentioned something important, which we also understood at Sana, or understand at Sana, in that sense that you're right. There is a lot of focus on AI on the retail or on the consumer's channel, right? A lot of technology is evolved around there already, or is already in place. But simple things, or let's say product recommenders or so on, these models are not really optimized for B2B. And just to give something simple, let's say, hey, recommendation, because the frequency or maybe the complexity B2B brings, let's say with regulation that also applies, then these things are just simply not functioning. Yeah, great answer, by the way. Yeah, do you have a question in mind for our next guest?
Yes, I do. Look, one of the biggest challenges in B2B is transitioning customers to execute their buying process digitally.
Yeah.
So the question will be, what strategies would you put in place to increase the adoption of a B2B platform?
Nice one. That is always a great question to ask. That's my, let's say, one of the favorite questions, like how is B2B complex, right? That is, or B2B e-commerce complex for you? That is one of my things I always love to ask, but this one on how you can increase adoption is always good. So we definitely will put that on the list, and thanks for that question, Jairo. Time is flying when you're having fun, and I have still a working day ahead. It is the early morning here in a very quiet office, but yeah, for you, I can only say enjoy the evening, right? Because that's how time zones work. It's always so special that you have somebody from the other side of the world on the line. Yeah, it's evening already, or almost close to evening, right?
5:30 p.m. So yes.
Yes, 5:30. Yes. Enjoy your day and your evening. Thank you very much for the information and the lessons you shared. Yeah, what I especially liked about this episode is that you clearly explained on how integration benefits you, bringing ERP and e-commerce work as one, benefit you as an IT leader, just to reduce work, less maintenance, almost close to zero, as you mentioned. But also how, if you're not taking that path, how you can struggle, right, with file-based data exchanges, and where the technical limitations are there, or where the struggles are. So that is great information for our listeners, and definitely the topics we want to talk in this podcast. So thank you very much again. If I am traveling to the other side of the world, then I would love to step by and say thank you in person as well. But you have a great company, a beautiful B2B platform.
Great. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Thank you for having me. So it will be great to see how the podcast goes. And
all right. Thank you very much.
No worries. Bye.